James, what's crack? How are
That's a very formal introduction.
we? It's always been at the start of a podcast. Everybody's always a bit funny, trying to be back
Aye.
and they forget about it, sir. So why don't you take the floor? Tell us a bit about your background, what you're all about. You just take it for 2 or 3 minutes and tell us who you are.
Hi. First of all, thanks for having me on, Chris. Really great for you to ask me. It's probably is a long time for it to happen. Who am I? Oh God, that's a question I've always asked myself. Who am I? It's maybe a question that a lot of people should ask themselves as well. Who are they?
Yeah.
Before going to that, I was on a webinar last night. So I gave a webinar to about 1,000 people across the world about career development. And there's a point to me saying this, is that whenever you ask someone, who are you, you will automatically respond with what you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
So I now do it in 3 words. So who is James Perry? I'm a carer, I'm an adventurer, and I'm an academic. And that's what I now tell people. Do you remember the dinner we were at?
Yeah, I remember you specifically said this.
I intentionally said that.
Yeah.
Because people's identity is wrapped up in their job role.
Yeah.
So this is a question to anybody who's out there, and straight away, and then I'll explain to you who I am and what I do, is once you strip away your job role, who are you? I think it's a very, very interesting question. So there you go. Hey, we're having profound things already.
Yeah.
But who am I? Well, I'll quickly go into the 3 words.
Go for it.
I'm a carer, so, well, I'm 40 years of age, live in a small village here in the north of Ireland, and primarily I am a carer, so I care for my dad full time, and cancer sufferer, and I've been his full-time carer for 2.5 years. So I left my job to go and do that. Having previously cared for my mum for many, many years. She was ill for a seriously long time. So I've had the unique privilege of caring for both my parents, being an only child. So that's the carer bit. The academic bit, I am a chartered accountant by trade, and I now work part-time at the University of Ulster as a teaching fellow. And then the other time I've got my own coaching business. So I love helping and I love knowledge. My passion is Irish history and stuff like that, and different cultures and history and all that. So I love the academic bit. And then I'm a wee bit of an adventurer as well. So I love my travel, but necessarily don't do the average travel. I do sort of stuff off the beaten track as well. So that's who I am, I suppose, in a nutshell. And then just to get on what I do, used to be a chartered accountant, worked in practice for many years, was financial controller of WKD, the drink, for a few years, and worked for government for a few years, and now I've got my own business, which is it's coaching accountancy, both accountancy students doing their exams and helping them in their career development as well. So that's me.
Happy days. And which role at the minute is the one that's most prominent?
Most prominent at the minute, believe it or not, is the university role. The reason why that is because it was actually made more permanent last week. So I was on a fixed contract for a year, and then I've actually went on to there as an employee, but on a part-time basis. So essentially, it's only really a day a week.
Yeah.
That's great for covering the bills, and then primarily the other thing is developing my own business, which is the coaching business.
Yeah.
And that's what I really enjoy is, man, I am not here to develop the next generation of accountants. Far from it, right? But I am here to help people become dynamic business people and to go and achieve what they want to do in their lives. So if they want to do that, they get a really, really world-class qualification.
Yeah.
I can certainly help them do that. And then if they want to take next steps to progress their career, I can help them with that too. But ultimately what I want them to do is I want people to go and achieve what they want to do.
And the people that you work with, what are the biggest challenges that you see with people, the most common things?
Self-belief. They don't believe they can pass. That's definitely in terms of the exam element. Procrastination, putting stuff off, especially study. And not having a plan. And not having a plan in place. So us good old accountants are all very familiar with business plans. But
Yeah.
whenever it comes to actually passing their exams, a lot of people don't have a plan for that, which is a bit strange given the fact that a lot of accountants are very, very logical.
Yeah.
But normally what happens, Chris, emotions come in and wreck that logic. Basically, that's what happens.
It does with everything, every single thing in life. Nothing disrupts a logical plan like an emotional setback.
Absolutely. And you know, we're probably in those circumstances now in terms of the very unique circumstances that we're in.
Yeah. I think, and we'll, because we're going to have to go down this road anyway, so might as well go down it about the whole situation. What are you seeing that you think nobody else is seeing in terms of coronavirus pandemic?
That's a very, very good question. I know you had my very good friend Kevin Young on
Yeah.
there a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, we must have sat there for 2.5 hours just chatting.
Aye, he's a good lad. He's one of my best one of my best mates now, I would say. And I've only known Kevin a little over 2 years, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I only lives down the road, but I know sort of the way he would think about this, and I no doubt he'd probably say that the fear is the fear. You know what I mean? That this mass hysteria is built on by things that maybe are reported on the media and that are being, in my opinion, being replayed in people's heads because of social media, because we've got access to so much information like that,
Yes.
where we can immerse ourselves in this. And because we're so immersed in it, we keep replaying the story in our heads, which reinforces the fear and keeps it building and building and building. Where, and this is very easy for me to say this again from the logical standpoint, but if we all listen to the advice, if we all hunker down and do our bit,
Yeah.
hopefully this will pass quicker than.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Pass quicker. I honestly, I want to do my part. He's saying the earlier on, we're just finishing off what we've got. Then we're shutting our doors. Everybody's, like you say, they're all fearful about businesses closing down. They're fearful
Absolutely.
what's going to happen to them, and I don't think enough people are actually planning on what they're going to do after. You know, and we're right now we're just getting up and doing what's in front of us. We're just doing what's there. We're not thinking about growth. We're not thinking about anything. But taking a few days off and just relaxing and then putting a plan in place, because I personally think this is where personal brand's going to come into effect for a lot of people. You know, you've got quite a strong personal brand in and amongst, you know, in Ireland. So how do you think
Thank you.
how do you think that's going to play for people? Something I've been trying to develop this year, and I think it's longer. But how do you think personal brands going to affect whatever businesses do start to open up again? Do you think people with no personal brand or no online brand are going to fall away?
Okay, it's very, very interesting you say that, because I gave a webinar on about career development last night. And look, I've got a great saying, and it's this: in terms of resilience, is to look at things as opportunities, not obstacles. This period of time, if we are on lockdown, this is the ultimate time for people to go and build that foundation.
Yeah.
Now, people talk about personal brand and stuff. I'm not necessarily in the latest buzzwords or stuff. It's your reputation and your credibility.
Yeah, yeah.
Boil it right back to the language we're talking about now. So if anybody's out there in terms of business and you're struggling, folks, go and lay a bit more of that foundation in terms of trying to build that reputation. Okay, go online, find that right channel for you. For me, it was very much LinkedIn to go and find clients, but go and build that. Go and add value to people. So there's a good old law, and I'll probably get this word wrong, but it's the law of reciprocity, something like that.
Reciprocity.
Thank you, Chris. It's the law of reciprocity. Essentially, what you give back, you receive. People will call it the law of karma. People will call it maybe a bit of Irish luck, whatever way you call it. You know, so that's my other thing. Give this time to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad isn't really a businessman, never had his own business or nothing. But whenever times get tough, and okay, it's a bit different now because people can't be here physically. But my dad has done people so many favors over the years. If he needs stuff done now, you would have a queue out our front door for people to help him.
Mm-hmm. He's just
So
got such a strong reputation, and he's
absolutely,
loved amongst the community.
Absolutely. My dad's like a wee institution where we live, and everybody would do everything for him. So that's it. The foundational bit of reputation and credibility Do it now, folks.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this, is that think about how you're going to do it. You know, you're going to write an ebook. Do you want to maybe post a bit of advice on something you love on LinkedIn, maybe once, twice, 3 times a week? What form does that take? You're going to get a couple of nice photographs of you, or do a small video clip or a wee audio clip, things like that. What about trying to connect with people online, maybe the big hitters in your industry, and connect with them and send them a message, maybe do a video call with them, a virtual coffee with them.
Yeah.
And these things are really, really key in trying to get that foundation up and running. And the big thing, Chris, is this: engage with other people. So I've just done a post on LinkedIn to say, people, do not isolate yourselves. Do not hide away and let the fear kick in. Now is the time to reach out and to get on these video calls. Thank God we've got the technology now that we can do this.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. So instead of going, oh, I'm fearful, my business is going down the pan, that is fair enough. My advice, Chris, is this: emotionally, take from now until the end of the week to get that emotion out.
Yeah.
See, once next Sunday evening comes, plan for your plan of attack.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I've actually said to my guys today, I said, look, we're going to finish out this week. I'm going to grab a case of beer on Saturday, and we're going to come up with a game plan about how we're going to go forward, because I've actually started prepping marketing materials and prepping these kind of things. And I want to go full throttle again when we're back up and running. You know, I'm trying to think about how we're going to do it, and how we're going to do it in a cost-effective way. Like how we're going to save costs in advertising. I'll just put that up in the video there, just in case a few people see it.
I was going to say, I thought you were doing that was a very strategic stretch there.
No, that was just so people know who we are. Just
no, absolutely.
cost-effective advertising. No, but I honestly think people should take a few days off and just relax and chill with the family.
Oh, completely.
And get them, like you say, get themselves right emotionally, because I'm not even sure. Even a couple of days ago, I was just sitting here and I just ended up with a pounding headache, but I didn't feel stressed. But could have put down to stress. Not in the traditional sense of the word, but could have, for whatever reason. But I woke up the next day and it was fine. I think a lot of people are going to feel effects that they've never felt before, due to the unknown of what's coming.
And that's the thing. This is what's driven the fear. There's a thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, we're right back down to the bottom of physiological needs now.
Security, uncertainty.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's killing people. It's the uncertainty of what the hell's going on. So once things sort of come back down, like I was talking to somebody just before we went on air here, and they're saying, James, I have got so many things I've got in my head I want to do, but I just can't do it. And I went, that's fine. That is fine. You can actually take 2 or 3 days to decompress, to get calm and get re-rational again, because what has happened to us all, as for the first time possibly collectively in humanity, we're all really suffering from the same thing, and we all now know about it. So this is unprecedented in the history of the planet. In the 200,000 years that humanity has been on this planet, it's the first time in history this has happened. So it's a massive shock to everyone. So it's quite easy for everyone, just please calm down and just sit down and do frig all for a couple of days. You know what I mean? It's trauma.
But you know what it is? Well, people are feeling guilty about taking a couple of days off for their family, because they're like, no, we'll have to. There's a lot of people out there saying, yeah, like I agree, use the time wisely, but using the time wisely is also recharge the batteries, spend time with your family, because that's important. But everybody's going, you need to get a plan in action, you need to get something, and everybody's now feeling pressure on their time off to actually do more work.
But at this minute in time, 2 or 3 days is not going to kill you in terms of just decompressing. Because the other thing is, when do you get your best ideas, Chris?
When I've got creative space every single time.
You're calm down.
You're calm, yeah.
Probably whenever you're doing nothing. You know, when do people get a lot of ideas? Whenever they wake up in the middle of the night. Like, here's another top tip, folks: have a notepad beside your bed. because you're calm, your subconscious is mulling over things, and then boom, all of a sudden, they talk about some people have the best ideas whenever they're in the shower.
Yeah.
Nikolai Tesla, have you ever heard of him?
No.
Okay, so he's what Elon Musk named the Teslas after,
Okay.
right? So Nikolai Tesla was in the late 1800s, early sort of 20th century, right, in New York. Was he Romanian, or was he's around, he was originally from Eastern Europe, and he lived in New York, and he's now the greatest inventor possibly ever. But people discredited him because he'd done some weird and wonderful things, right? And people thought it was so wacky, but now he's been proven to be right. The whole point of me saying this is that Nikolai Tesla took a siesta from 2 o'clock to about 3:30 every single day. He just left whatever meeting or whatever he was doing, he went and had a sleep, because he believed that was where his genius was created, believe it or not. So, hey, if it's good enough for Nikolai Tesla, it's good enough for me. Nikolai Tesla is on a par with Einstein. That's how unbelievable of a man he was. So definitely folks out there, look up Nikolai Tesla. He was some guy.
Yeah.
But it's quite right for people to decompress and to actually, something Kevin would say this as well, to be.
Yeah.
We're human beings, and we tend to lose out in the fact that we're human beings. We became human doings, and that's all we seem to flip and do because we're conditioned to do.
Yeah.
And yeah,
What do you think about the pressure that's on people to keep doing? Because it's almost like some people feel guilty when they're not doing.
I'll give you an example. So whenever my dad told me, like I said, I don't care. My dad told me just live July 17 that he had cancer, right? And I went straight to work, and I said I need to get out of here because I need to look after this boy. He's going to go through chemo and all sorts. And then I went off, and that was about December 17.
Mm-hmm.
And see the first 9 months, Chris, I had unbelievable guilt because I had so much freedom. Okay, I had to build the business and stuff like that, but it wasn't the fact. The conditioning was starting to break, and it took 9 months to try and get out of that conditioning, and that's what it's about. So from the minute we're in school, we are being conditioned to go into the workforce and work. And the greatest exponents of that is the university system, right? Where you're trained up, even high school. We're part. This is changing. So you've heard of the Industrial Revolution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, what happens, and still the case now, the education system is built for Industrial Revolution thinking. What does that mean? Churning out as many workers in the masses as possible to go into industry and work. That is all it's for.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, and the system, and even the save for retirement and get into your pension schemes and all that sort of stuff was built around that time. And I can't remember which book I read. It was Robert Kiyosaki, and
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
yeah, I can't remember if it was that book or it was Cash Flow Quadrant.
Yeah.
He had something about the
Move up there.
I think it was 1989. There was a specific happened, and that's when the information age began, and that's when all this stuff started changing. Now, obviously, over the last 10 to 15 years, it's really, really took off. But I think something happened in 1989 where that industrial revolution sort of just ended, and that's when the information age began. I can't remember
Yeah,
what that was, but
and well, that's what's trying to spin out of that now. So
still to catch up.
opposite the system is catching up. So we've got people, and the entrepreneurial revolution has started to begin, but our education systems haven't caught up with that yet. They're getting there. One of the things I'm trying to do, for example, in university, is talk about career development and building networks, and getting that foundation right and building a reputation and stuff like that. So they're delighted that I'm going to help them with that. But it's the key thing is, man, is that it's very hard to break that conditioning if it's been ingrained in a system for 250 years.
Yeah, and it's been ingrained in you since childhood.
Oh, I. Oh, I. So what is our parents push us to do? Right, you're going to get a good education. You're going to get a good job for life. You know, it's nothing about right. Go and do something that you want to do.
Yeah. Well,
You know,
yeah, I get. We were. I was told that as well growing up, and it was the exact same thing. But I just never enjoyed school, and I never conformed. I was like, I always said, even throughout university, the mom and dad and everybody else, I was like, this isn't for me. It's not for. It wasn't for
mhm.
me at all. Couldn't get me motivated. Couldn't get me into university. Um. So what about the people who are in that situation now? Who don't it's not for them working
And
because some people just love to work as well.
this is where the education system has to change, right? So, like the example of me becoming an accountant, the reason why I became an accountant was at the starting point was because I thought I was going to get loads of money. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic profession, and that's what I help people to do. It's a fantastic springboard. It's a great grounding in business to move you forward and do what you want to do. That's the longer term thing, right? So use that qualification for to do what you want to do. So it all boils down to that question that the education system has to change to line up with what does the people want to do. What so whenever you were 14 or 15, 16 or 17, even when you were starting to think about that, how can the education system support you in terms of what you want to do? And there's a good old TED talk by a guy called Ken Robinson, and I think it's the most number one watched TED talk that there is. 20 plus million views, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's obviously a TED talk. It's 18 minutes long, right? But it's about 13 minutes of jokes and 5 minutes of hard hitting point.
Mhm.
And it's called How Schools Kill Creativity. So when are we most creative? When were we jam packed full of ideas? Whenever we're in P1, P2, and P3, right? Whenever from the years of about 4 until about 8, 9, or 10.
Mhm.
That's when we were dreaming big and we're doing this and we're doing that. And then slowly but surely we're educated out of it.
Mhm.
So this is where I believe the education system has to change and try and find those people. So I was talking to another good friend of mine who has got a fantastic business. And he was the very same thing, man. He hated school
Mhm.
until he found out that he loved coding. So why don't you spend the first couple of years in high school, find out what you like, and then moving forward with that? That would
Yeah,
change things radically.
yeah,
And that's the thing. So, you know, you do need your basic education, but you'd like to think by maybe third or fourth year, you're going to be able to read and write and do maths and add up.
yeah.
That's a debate I could have forever with academics, you know.
Tell me about it. And it is for some people. Some people like working. Some people like to be in a job. Some people like the
Mhm.
security, and that's fine. There's everybody's different. Um,
Absolutely.
me, someone I was actually asking me, yesterday and the day before, what are you going to do if your business closes down? I know we're not going to close down because we're not over leveraged in any way. And I was like, I'll have to figure out something else. I'll have to figure out how to make money in the short term and build something else because there's no way that I could go back to working for somebody else. It's not in my nature anymore.
Let me ask you this. I'm going to be the guest asking the host the question here, right?
Go for
When did you decide to do your crisscross business? How did that come about? So how did you come about from going, I just wanted to work to then owning your own business, which is an incredible story. It's an incredible achievement for you to own your own business and employ people. How did that come about?
It's an interesting one because from a young age, I've always wanted to own my own business. I never knew what I wanted to do. People used to ask me, and I would have said, I want to work in an office, but I want to own a business in an office. And I was like, what is that? What does that even mean? Um, for me, there was times when we were younger, there was even me and my cousin, we used to take my auntie's no strimmer round to the gardens and we used to knock on doors and ask for money. We used to just like strip a garden for £5. We probably would have
Class.
5 or 6 gardens in a day, and then we would have had like 25 quid there, 30 quid, whatever it was, and then we split the money, just went and bought sweets in the shop.
Class.
The little things like that, and then I came back from Australia, but there was other things going on in my personal life that were affecting mindset and what I really wanted to do, insecurities and stuff that were rolling about in my head. That I couldn't do this sort of thing.
Yep.
Then basically, what happened was I was buying and selling a bit of furniture on Gumtree, and that was it. Just making a bit of money on the side of my 9 to 5 job, which I hated. Um, and then my cousin one day just asked me, did I want to clear a house out for him? He was like, I heard you're the man to flip some furniture. And I says, right, well, I'll get a hold of a van. And what I'll do, I'll get all the furniture, I'll take photos of it the day before, throw it all up on Gumtree and Facebook and sell it all. Like, there's nothing there that's difficult to grasp. Anybody can do this.
Did you listen to Gary Vee one night?
No, this is before I even knew who Gary Vee was. This is long before I knew who Gary Vee was. Before I knew anything about online marketing, brand, and all that sort of stuff. But I was just doing it because I knew there was, people were just throwing stuff away, and I was like, well, I might as well get a tenner for it or 20 quid.
Absolutely.
So that's how that happened. And what he was getting the house cleared out, so I got the van anyway. I cleared the house out. I had all the deliveries lined up for the next day, and I remember because it was my 26th birthday. I remember it was 2016, the 29th of May was the last day that I sold the last item. I remember sitting there with £500 cash in my hand for the weekend's work. I gave my mate 100 quid for helping me out. And then I went to my cousin and I was like, well, what way do you want to split this? And he just went, just keep it. He goes, I was going to have to pay to get the house cleared out anyway. He goes, just keep it. So I was like, happy days. And I was sitting there looking at £400 in my hand for a weekend's work. And I was like, must be something here. So next day,
Let's have a go.
No,
that was just. Can you hear me okay? Yeah.
I thought I heard a noise or an interruption noise.
No, work away.
So that's how that all came about. The next day I sold my car, bought a van, and just to say I was like, right, how am I going to promote myself? Right, first of all, ads on Gumtree. So I started paying for ads on Gumtree, started generating a little bit of work, doing clearance work. And that's how it all took off. The next thing was a Facebook page. The next thing was, taking on an employee. The next thing, it was a lot of cash work to start though, and then I started learning about online marketing, brand, and started finding guys like Gary Vee, and started finding people who were in the know. I was very, very late to all this stuff. And
oh man, you weren't as late as me.
Yeah, I didn't.
You weren't as late as me. We'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, so you're coming in. I know it's you're coming in 2016, 2017, and started a Facebook page 5 years after organic reach was really high. Then Instagram, I was very late to that as well. But these things are what we're trying to work on now. But I didn't know all this back then. But that's how it all started. And then now that I've got momentum and confidence and a bit of knowledge about business, I know that this is what I want to do. Like, whether it be removals in 10 years, I don't know, but it'll always be something to do with business. It'll always be something challenging. And I think it's always going to be, I don't think creating online courses and selling online courses is for me, because I like interacting with people, which is why I started. This is why I started local business. I like being with people, and I think everybody is sort of pushing towards online business and going with what's going on now. You can probably see why, but there's a lot of money and reputation and scalability in local business as well that I think people are overlooking right now. And I think there's going to be an opportunity there over the next 5 years.
So my thing to that would be
a really good local business over the next 5 years, because people are going to jump out of it to jump online, which is going to open up an opportunity, because local businesses are still needed. And a good local business with exceptional service is needed.
Absolutely agree. So then my thing to people out there would be, why not do a bit of both?
Exactly.
So one thing, as I say, that has really helped me, has covered my ass, because look, the circumstances are at the minute are this, is that the exams, professional exams, are being delayed. So therefore clients aren't necessarily coming to me at the minute because of that delay. And a couple of clients have cancelled because of the uncertainty. Okay, that's fine. But universities are still continuing on their online. So what happens to me is, thankfully, I do have still a bit of online to keep me going and keep me,
Yeah.
pay the bills. So that's the thing I would say to people, is that in a challenging situation like this, do you have a contingency plan put in place that you then can go from your traditional local service-based business and have maybe another venture on the side that is online that can help cover your bills?
At the moment, we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, I've got a little bit of money.
Absolutely. And that is the reason why there's a very, very good opportunity to go and do that.
Exactly. And this personal project, the personal brand stuff that I'm doing, the podcast, these are all things I just enjoy doing. I like
Absolutely.
speaking to like-minded people. I don't feel like what I'm doing on the side of things is a chore by any means. For me, I kind of have enough money to ride the wave if I need to, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll adapt. How I'm going to do it right now, as of today, I think there's a lot of pressure on people to have a plan. As of right now, I don't know. I've been speaking to people that are close to me in terms of people that I get my advice from. Accounting, different people. We'll figure out something. But personally, I've got a plan for when everything starts kicking off again, which was already in the motion just before everything kicked off, which is all now stopped. But our online reputation is strong in terms of reputation strong. I don't feel we'll have a brand yet, but our reputation is strong enough to come back well.
Yeah. So ultimately, Chris, what I was saying in terms of this reputation building piece is always have this in the back of your mind. What makes you special? What makes you stand out from the crowd? Because everybody has got
business.
What makes your business stand out in the crowd then?
Our business, there's a few different things. Firstly, we are not controlled by any bodies, so we can do things our way. What I found, and this is only very recently, is that a lot of people are being taken advantage of in terms of getting hit for extortionate fees whenever they cancel a booking due to fine print buried in their terms and conditions. So I just seen these things and I thought it was disgraceful. And people are stressed when they're moving house. That's their pain point. So the last thing that people need, if they get a letter from their solicitor the day before to say that they cannot move the day, or say it's on a Thursday and they're going on the Friday, but for some reason it gets postponed, then all of a sudden they get charged for their full move, and then they have to rebook and pay again. Could you imagine how a customer's going to feel with that? So I eliminated all that, all those cancellation fees, and we just started taking deposits off people, and we would hold their booking and change it free of charge, providing some free packing materials, providing consultancy, all that sort of stuff. I've got a few other things that have.
So essentially, and this is just an example then to other people, you're building your reputation around your integrity.
Yeah, I didn't like people being cheated out of stuff in the fine print. That's just these are just things that I found. I don't know which companies are doing it, but this is what I've seen in other terms and conditions, which I didn't like, and I sort of that's the reason. I don't want customers to feel like if I'm taking a deposit off them or we're taking a deposit off them and something outside of their control is affecting that, we'll hold the booking. Because my promise to people is we will provide a stress-free moving experience. I like to hold people to that.
And so that's the thing. If you've got a key strength, and your key strength is you have got that trust with people, that you're going to say whatever you promise you're going to do, and you have that strong integrity, man, you build your brand around that. So the social media posts that you put out has to be built around that theme. You know what I mean? Your brand has to be associated. That has to be somewhere, maybe in your website or whatever that may be, and start even writing blog posts around it and putting it out there. What makes you stand out in the crowd? And that's the same with any business. There's that USP, the unique service provider. What is it? And that's what you need to put out there. So for me, and how I built a reputation.
I had the same question back at you now. So what James Perry, the exam coach,
Well,
different.
again, I done it. I done it. I took with this last night in terms of doing these things and putting my name out there. Man, I wasn't on social media until 5 years ago. I didn't have a Facebook page.
Mhm.
I was on a LinkedIn, had my CV on it, and that was all.
Mhm.
So what I done 3 years ago, whenever I thought about this business, was okay. I just put my name out there and put up posts. But what I done was, Chris, was I done things slightly different. Not by design, but just because of my personality. I'm not going to be someone that I'm not. So, who else would go into the middle of Niagara Falls and hold a camera up and give an exam tip? Who else would be dandering around Madrid's Royal Palace telling people to cut up their textbooks?
Mhm.
That's what made me then stand out and be noticed. And funny enough, I was asked this question last night on a webinar: who is the most famous person who knows me? And I couldn't answer that. But what I could do was say, there's a few times I go into Belfast and people will come over and say, "How you doing?" I don't know who they are. I just say, "Thanks for I really enjoy your stuff." Or, I remember I was in the carousel to get my baggage in Birmingham Airport, and one English guy came over to me and shook my hand. I went, "Are you the exam guy?" Going, that's mental.
Yeah,
So essentially what it is getting your name out there. Just go and take a chance. But, be you. If you want to do something unusual to make you stand out in the crowd, go and do it.
mhm.
It's not going to hurt, but make your personality shine through. That is the key thing.
Definitely. And I put out a video a couple of weeks ago, sort of taking the piss out of removals, and it went down
Hmm.
very well on all platforms. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody doing that in such
And
a.
the best video you've ever done is your bloopers. I want that back up again, by the way.
Still trying to find that. I can't find it.
Oh, man.
I had like I was posting stuff on for the coaching, but I couldn't
Mm.
actually. I couldn't recover it. Maybe it's buried somewhere. I'm gonna find it for you though. I will find it. I'll post.
Do. Find it and put it up. Put it up.
Yeah, it was good. I've actually got a few more I could put together.
But yeah, so that's what happened. And the other thing I said last night was by doing what I'd done. So I had these interviews with people. So what I tried to do was to try and have two brands, but have one link interlinked with the other. So I started this interview series called James Perry Presents,
Yeah, I
which
remember
was, and
it was like last year. You were doing a lot of stuff.
I'd done it for about 18 months, and it was more for enjoyment rather than putting pound notes in the bank. So that's the reason why I parked it for a bit. But that sort of got me out there. Some James Perry rather than this accountant. It got me out there, and who was I as a person,
Yeah,
and who did I want to associate with. So that actually enhanced my reputation by associating with other good people.
yeah,
And that's how the sort of the flower like blooms. You know what I mean? If you associate with other people, that reputation is going to grow and spread. And if you associate with other good people, they're going to be your cheerleaders in the future.
mhm,
So that's the other tip. Go and find decent people in your space, associate with them, and help them spread your message.
mhm.
Because that's what happened to me too. So what I done was I then dovetailed the James Perry Presents stuff with the accountancy stuff.
Yeah,
People got to know me through James Perry Presents, but then went, "Oh, he's that coach. He seems a decent enough guy. Let's go and get in contact with him."
yeah, yeah,
So it really worked hand in hand. Like, and plus the other stuff was by interviewing a lot of people, I was getting mentored for free just by interviewing them. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And asking the questions and stuff. But
yeah.
nothing will ever beat whenever I interviewed my dad. Nobody will ever beat that one.
No, no, that was an absolute cracker.
8,000 views on Facebook Live. It was mental.
Unbelievable. Um,
Um,
how
aye.
how important? I know we sort of touched on this earlier on, but how important do you think personal brand is right now? Because I think there's a lot of people with no brand that are going to go out of business, and because
Right.
we're obscurity is a big challenge for people who've just started out or have only been in business for a couple of years.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. I was 14 or 15, right? And a couple of things happened in our school. Now, I wasn't associated with it, but my dad heard about it, right? Whatever happened, I can't remember. But my dad got wind of this, and I remember he done, the way you get the talk whenever you're a young fella. Your ma or dad will sit you down and tell you stuff, will read the riot act to you. No, I still haven't had that talk yet. Flip me, brought up in the good old staunch Catholic household. You're not going to be talking about the birds and the bees, I tell you now. I think.
Well, what's the talk? Because things in Belfast and things in the city and things in the country might be different.
Oh, absolutely. No, my dad, who probably wanted to be a priest at one stage, he'd probably just say, "Look, son, you're going to find out about that in the schoolyard. Like, work away." No, the talk was that I remember he sat me down. He heard there was something done in school, and he
Yeah.
sat me down and he told me about the importance of reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Son, anybody can make fun of you if somebody's doing something and up to no good, right? They can make fun of you for not following the crowd, but you never want someone to take your good reputation away from you."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's always stuck in my head from the age of 14 to now. If you have got a good reputation, you do not want that taken away from you. So that's the thing. If you've got a business with a good reputation and you're struggling now, you need to find a way to tell as many people as possible about that good reputation.
Yeah. Yep.
Best way of doing it is social media. So a lot of people now, I think, will maybe start to be adopting social media to promote their business. A lot of people haven't. Even in today's generation, where you're seeing like that's all social media does, and especially here.
Sorry to cut you off. I actually spoke to a guy in my industry recently, and he said that he doesn't like the stuff that comes through social media so much that he doesn't even respond to the messages. What do you think about that?
Completely agree.
No,
so
business stuff that comes through.
Absolutely, because certain people have jumped on the bandwagon and started to produce. It started to be now a conveyor belt of shite.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's coming out, right? And so what happens? This conveyor belt of shite has fed people narcissism, and therefore you get these terms called humble bragging. That does my nut in, by the way, right?
Well, what
so
humble bragging is?
Humble bragging is where somebody, under the guise of helping someone and giving out a tip, actually the undertone is, "Oh, look how successful I am. I'm Billy Big Balls."
Right. Okay.
So, this person leaning on his Porsche, giving a tip in a video, or there was one that I seen, this could be maybe a year ago, a guy saying, "I'm so proud to be writing this check to HMRC because I really give lots of employment to people." And the check was for £1 million.
Right. Yeah, I get
And
it.
you're going, you have no call to do that. Absolutely give the value of saying, "I'm really proud to provide employment in my local area." But why in the name of God put a check, for £1 million on a picture on LinkedIn?
Right.
That's where it's went to. So social media is starting to lose some of its core message. It's to go and help people, right? Go and give that value and those tips to people that's going to improve them. So what I'd say to people is, keep on building your reputation by doing that. Go back to that underlying premise of giving people value and information with no expectations of stuff in return.
Yeah.
Because it'll come back to you tenfold.
Do you know what? There's plenty of times that I've taken that, just something that I took from Gary Vee a while ago. He goes, give people so much value that it's almost like you're trying to turn away their business. Like, I tell people how to save money, tell people what's right for them. I'll actually literally refuse to take people on in my business because I don't feel that we're right for them, just price wise. I know people are on a severe budget, and for the service we offer, there's have specific minimum requirements for 2 hour minimum and then 4 hour minimum for house moves. But people are under a severe budget, and I'll give them a number for someone else who will help them out and will do a good job. Because I can take on the business, but I'd rather they got better value for money for what they need.
Absolutely. No, there's a skill to doing that.
What?
There's a skill to giving value on social media, which is this, right? And this is something that
there's an abundance of work out there, and there's an abundance of people that need services.
No, absolutely. Now, one trap I did fall into, and this is something, if somebody's on the journey and listening to this and going, right, I want to continue or start building a reputation online, is you can give away too much though. And what do I mean by that? So I'll give you an example. I have had numerous people over the last couple of years from as far away as India and Asia send me messages saying, "Thank you so much, sir. I couldn't have passed my exams without you." And yet I've never heard tell of them, right? So therefore, I was getting nothing sort of back in return. I was very, very glad that I helped them in that way, but I was giving too much away.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a happy medium of giving loads of value away, loads of it, but to do it in a way that protects some of the value that you have yourself and you've worked on to develop. So there's a good old saying called giving away information for free and implementation for fee.
Yeah, I've heard that said before.
So I can tell someone that you need to go and do a study plan for your exams. You need to go away and be aware of that. Then you would like to, and I'm making people aware of that value and giving them an awareness of, you need to have this in place. You need to have a strong mindset in place. You need to be able to how to execute in the day of the exam, or you need to go and build a network to develop your career. But then you would like to think, by me giving them that value, they will come to me for me to help them implement those steps.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. So therefore, that's what I'd say to anybody. Have a thought about that. Hopefully, listen to the podcast here, go away, listen to it, and scribble down the bits of paper how you're going to do that. Again, going back to the circumstances that we're in now is the time to think about this.
Yeah.
Definitely is, man. So people look at this as opportunities to go ahead and start looking at things very, very different.
Yeah. I want to continue touching on social media for just a minute, because
Yep.
there are a lot of people who cannot post on social media, regardless of what they're, whether it's video, whether it's whatever they're trying to do. I personally think video is very just super, super important for anybody who is trying to promote themselves or their business. But there's a lot of people who don't want to do it because of insecurity, and they're afraid of what they look at camera and afraid of what to say and blah, blah, blah. What do you think about that? How did you overcome it?
Okay, so the first step that I done in terms of building what is now a accounting success coach business is that I started writing the odd blog. So therefore, you didn't really have to have your face out there or to do a video. And this is probably, maybe videos have really only come into vogue maybe the last 18 months or so, really promoted. So I remember about 3 years ago, whenever this came about, a guy knocked up a website for me for 200 quid, right? It was really, really basic, but it done the job. And I had a blog section on it, and I just wrote blogs on it about this, that, and the other. And that was the stage where people were definitely really liking blogs. So, Chris, if you at this stage, in order to take those baby steps to push forward, maybe write a blog, put it out there. There's a website called medium.com, the biggest free blogging site in the world. Go and write a small article on Medium and share it. So that's the first step. Anything, if you are interested in something and it's relating to your industry or your space, this is the thing I was talking about last night. You want to be perceived as an expert in your field. So if I want to go and have a house removal, I got to contact you because you've already demonstrated to me your expertise in the market, and also that one of your key being integrity.
Yeah.
Class. So therefore, already you plant the seed in the mind to go, yeah, Chris was talking about that, right? Let's go and give Chris a call, see if he can help me out.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I remember one time I wrote a blog about my mum, and my mum was ill for many, many years, right? And a parent rung me of a guy doing his final exams in uni.
Yeah.
And the father rung me up and says, "James, I would love you to help my son. I read your article that you wrote on your mummy, and it really showed me that you've got really good family values. I loved that, and I wanted to give you a ring."
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with accountancy.
Yeah.
The hook was nothing to do with accountancy. So, it's that sort of thing, that take those baby steps and write a blog, write an article on LinkedIn, write a long form post on Facebook,
Yeah.
I say, just take that starting point.
Okay. And what about people who want to get on video and just can't face maybe they're too insecure about what people think? How do you get over that part?
Just a quote, good old Nike. What's the strap line for Nike?
What's the strap line? Just do it.
Aye,
Yeah,
aye.
just go for it. I
Just
was
do
actually going back through my first videos, and yeah, the first ones are always a bit strange and they're really weird. And my eyes are really wide. Looked like I was
But
high.
they're great. But they're fantastic for you to look back on now.
I was like, you're trying to use it's almost like your hands aren't in line with what you're saying, and your eyes are like that's weird.
Aye, but it's great looking back on it now, isn't it? It's a bit of crack.
Yeah. It just takes time to get comfortable in front of. But being afraid of the judgment of others, because for mass population, it's
You know
still
something? You know something? In terms of the judgment of others, if you're going to take a video about your business, you're doing much more than most people do. So fair play to you. That's my attitude.
yeah.
And those people that are going to be on the side berating you and slagging you off about it, they don't have the cojones to go and do it themselves.
Mhm.
That's
Exactly.
what you find.
Exactly. It's never anybody who's doing it. It's the
I
people
remember
making fun.
somebody somebody had a go at me about something a couple of years ago and something, and I held my dignity. I just didn't respond, right? And but my thought was, you're a keyboard warrior, but I bet you money you wouldn't face me and have a debate face to face on it. That's sometimes what you get.
Mhm.
So again, we're talking about fear here, and perception and things like that. Now, again, that's maybe in your mind. Now, there's a good old thing in NLP,
Yeah.
neuro linguistic programming, a
Yeah.
thing called mind read. So you have got the fear that it's stopping you posting a video because you're mind reading what people may do or may think.
Mhm.
You don't know. Most people may go fair play to you. That's great.
Yeah. No,
So
but
at least at
one
least have a go.
one comment where someone criticizes you is the one that people fear the most. It's not the one
Yes,
people,
you, you
people
you've
don't
got
love, but they're afraid of the criticism.
you've got 100 bits of feedback. You've got 99 positive ones and one negative one. What are you going to remember?
It's always going to be the negative one.
But it's mental because you've got 99% success rate or 99%.
Yeah,
I would take 99% all day long.
yeah. So
So
my phone's ringing now, please. Just
work away there.
it's coming up on the laptop, so just wait for a second and I'll decline it. Just sorted. Sorry,
That's
everybody
it done.
listening or watching.
No, here this is the beauty of live entertainment.
um,
No,
yeah, sorry, what were you saying there?
aye, so it's just a matter of going and doing it.
Yeah,
Right, you know, you talk about maybe about personality types and the people who may be slightly more introverted, right? But I heard this cracker. If you're an introvert and you're, for example, going to a networking meeting and you're hard scared of doing it, pretend to be extroverted for an hour. I thought that was a classic saying, the brilliant saying. And I would say I'm an omnivert. So I'm very much, I was going to say people say I'm a pervert, but will not say that. But I'm an,
you, James.
oh, I know. But an omnivert, which is in certain circumstances you're introverted, and some circumstances you're extroverted. And I'm naturally probably more extroverted than introverted. But put me into a room full of people that I don't know. For the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'd be incredibly introverted
Mhm.
until I then get comfortable and start chatting to people. Then I'll relax. So, what I say to people is look, if you are introverted and you don't want to do these things, be extroverted for an hour
Mhm.
and go and do it and then see what happens.
This is even with myself, like networking events or something that I enjoy going to. I find like I'm an extrovert. I love talking to people, but I love talking to people in a one-on-one setting or a small group. But like, see, sitting around a table talking about yourself and telling people what you do, 60-second pitches, that is not for me. And I can go from speaking in small groups to speaking on a stage. It's not, but see, speaking like that in that environment, I find it very difficult.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
Well,
really, I don't know why. There's no particular reason why.
my attitude of building a network, um, and I owe Martin Gilchrist a lot for teaching me this. So my attitude of networking, Chris, was over 10 years ago. I was in senior management. I was an associate director in a firm called Grant Thornton in Belfast.
Yeah,
So I was in senior management, and my version of networking was going to la-di-da networking events with people that I had nothing really in common with, and talking about stuff I didn't want to talk about, and dealing out business cards like they're playing cards. And I found I didn't like that at all. Didn't like it. So the key thing in that is to go and find the people you do enjoy spending your time with, and go and concentrate on them, because
yeah,
they're going to be your biggest cheerleaders, and you're going to find out a lot from them the most. Um, the other thing was that there are some massive events at the minute out there, and there are lots of people doing events, right? But any events that I've done under my sort of James Perry Presents brand have been like small coffee shop events. The reason why I love doing that is because you get to talk to everybody,
yeah, yeah,
and everybody else can talk to everybody else.
yeah.
If you're in a big event with 100 people plus, you're not going to get anywhere near people.
You're not getting any quality presence with anybody.
No,
5 minutes, boom, I need to get this first, boom.
and I'm not knocking that. It's great, but that's the reason why I love the smaller events, and I will get back to running some of them again.
Yeah,
Just in a coffee shop, 30, 40 people. Get focused on one maybe particular topic, get 2 or 3 people talking about some real good stuff, getting people to interact and have conversations, and it's great.
yeah.
You know,
The one we went to, the dinner one was fantastic.
that
Great,
was great, wasn't it?
it was entertaining people. There was the topics, then there was the dinner, everybody speaking. It was really, really well run, and I do like stuff like that.
And there was a really good crowd of people.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a great thing. There was nobody there for ego, no egos. Do you know the good old? Do you know what the All Blacks mantra is?
No, and it is something to do with humility or ego or something, is it?
No dickheads.
Okay, kids.
That's their mantra.
I don't know. I've read the first part of the book and then I lent it to someone. I read the first
What book is that? Legacy.
legacy about them
Class.
sleeping they all had the locker room or the changing room. But then,
Sweeping the sheds, as they call it.
sorry?
Sweeping the sheds.
Yes.
So Richie McCaw, one of the greatest All Black captains of all time, an absolute icon of world sport, and he cleaned the changing room after everybody left. You know what I mean? Brilliant. And that's their. But what they done was they had this sign, "No dickheads," and they put it in their changing room wherever they went.
Yeah.
And that was to keep a sense of humility,
Yeah.
which people, again, going back to humble bragging, you need to have a bit of humility as well. You need to know your stuff, but you also need to be slightly humble. There was a great. There was
When you get cocky, you always get humbled.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. There was a thing I said last night on the webinar.
I've let the ego take over me a few times and I've been humbled every time. So
Absolutely.
it happens to everybody.
There was a thing I said last night, Chris, on the webinar I was doing, and it was about it was a really good indication of a growth mindset. And there were 3 aspects to it. Number 1 was looking at things as opportunities, not obstacles.
Yeah.
Number 2 was, if you say a negative sentence, put the word yet after it. So, for example, someone will come to me, James, I can't pass an exam yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds really different,
Yeah. Yeah. Does.
right? And the other one is in terms of humility. So if you think you're Billy Big Balls, right, and you're egotistical and you're triumphant about things, replace that with humility, right? And that means you've always got something else to learn. And that's where the growth mindset comes in. Because you see, if you think you've made it, you haven't. Nobody's made it. You
What
know,
is it? What does made it mean?
exactly right. The version of success is different to different people. I know one of the most successful men I've ever met, and he sits in the room next to me, my dad, right? Now, I just seen him, I'm looking out the window there, and he'd done a couple of laps in the yard in his wee three-wheeler.
Yeah.
That's his success today.
Uh-huh.
That he's able to go and enjoy a bit of sunshine there and go for a wee dander in the yard in his three-wheeler. Whenever the good days come back, he's going to go for a wee walk. He's in a scooter now, a mobility scooter, but he's going to go up the promenade in Newcastle
Yeah.
in his wee mobility scooter, and then me and him will go for a fry after it. That's success.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Not the other thing, I will talk about travel maybe in a bit, but I love my travel, and I go and see some of the wonders of the world, and I am taken away, I'm blown away with some of the wonders of the world. That's a
Yeah.
huge success for me.
Yeah.
So success means different things to different people, and that's the other thing.
It does. Sometimes it just means getting through a difficult pandemic.
Oh
sometimes
man,
sometimes it means hitting a certain financial goal in a month. Sometimes it means getting your food on track for the day. It all depends. Everybody's got different goals for different things. But I think if you've got goals and if you're trying to build on these three aspects of life, health, wealth, and relationships, those are the three that are going to give you fulfillment. Because your health, your wealth are going to allow for your relationships to flourish.
and that's the other thing about the minute. Here I'm definitely going to hold my hands up on this one because ever since I came back from my walk in the Himalayas last May, I haven't done that much exercise, and I was a gym bunny like used to be anyway, and that's something now I have to take very seriously in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And this is the opportunity for people as well to go and get healthy.
Yeah.
Go and download something or watch something on YouTube, and go into your wee spare room and do that exercise, or go for a walk very responsibly. Be sensible at where you're walking, but you can do that and go out into the fresh air and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so that certainly is something I need to adhere to and get back on the horse for that with my health. So I completely get that one.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's an opportunity for me is to do
Yeah.
it now. We're all in lockdown.
Yeah. Do it now. Walking. Start simple. Walk, and then get back to where you were.
No, absolutely.
And it's easy at this time for everybody to forget about their health because stress can, the last couple of days, there's old conditioning inside of me that's sitting saying, go and do this and go and do that and go and do that. And I'm like, no, you kind of want to keep your head on track. And being healthy and training and those kind of things are really important for me to keep my head in the game. Like that's like a top priority for me.
What would your tip be, Chris, then, if you have somebody at the minute who is slightly low, given the circumstances, that is their business maybe, and we've talked a lot about business, and they want to go and brainstorm those ideas to take things to the next stage. But if they want to get their health back on track, what would your tip be to get the starting point to start?
Just get started. Just go for a walk. Get your earphones on. Get something positive in your ears in the morning. I think it's how you start your day is critical. Like even if I'm not training, the way I start my day every day is get up, 10 minutes of meditation, write down my goals, and then go and do some form of exercise or stretching. Now sometimes the exercise at the gym, sometimes it's stretching and then walking the dog. And while I'm doing the stretching or the walking, I'm listening to something positive.
You do a lot of walking with the dog, actually. You see that a lot, which is class.
Listen to a book, listen to whoever you find motivating or inspiring, listen to them. And that's how you start your day, right? Because you started your day off in a positive state, ready to go. Um, in terms of getting your health, it has to become a priority. It's not something you can dabble in. It's not something you can say, I'll try and do that, I'll try and squeeze it in. It has to become a top priority. And getting yourself, it depends on what your goal is. Like if your goal is to be a bodybuilder, that's completely different to somebody who just wants to lose a bit of weight and feel healthier or improve his sex life or whatever. it's two completely different things. And I'm not a personal trainer. I'm definitely, for anybody listening, I'm not qualified to talk about this. I'm talking about from my own personal experience, from people that I know. I know a lot of personal trainers, and I know the problems that they face with their clients. But depending on what your goal is, it has to become a priority. It's not something that can be half-assed. So
Absolutely. What are you listening to at the minute? What book?
the book, this is Marketing by Seth Godin.
Oh, brilliant. Very good.
Haven't,
I'm,
it's
I'm
just
listening to, what is it? Can't Break Me, David Goggins.
can't break me.
Aye.
I've heard it called as two books. Is two books he's got? Is it Can't Stop Me or Can't? Is that the one you're talking about, or is it got?
I think it's called Can't Break Me, aye.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know.
It's here.
Videos of him running up down the beach.
It's basically. I will tell you something on. Actually, I haven't listened to it in 2 or 3 days. It's probably the reason why I forget the title because I haven't driven anywhere. You know what I mean? I always listen to audiobooks in the car. That's the thing for me.
It's good.
It's grand. Yeah. All I can say is thank God it's the narrator that's saying it because his voice now. I don't think I can listen to him the whole way through the book. But what happens is, which is really good, actually better than buying the book, is that they run it like a podcast. So the narrator will read a chapter and then they'll have an interview about the chapter at the end. So you're getting more than just the book. It's
Brilliant.
actually really good.
Yeah.
But he's a bit mad, like.
I've seen him every time I see him. He's running, he's shouting stuff. I haven't actually. I don't follow him, so I don't really know much about him.
No, I didn't know very much about him until this. And as you look, like us all, he had a lot of trauma, and this is the way he's dealt with it in a productive way in terms of doing what he's done. And that's something that certainly people can learn from is if you've got something really, really affecting you or grating on you, find something positive that you can rebound in that direction. It used to be powerlifting for me. I used to love powerlifting. Used to do that, and just after I come back from the Himalayas, which was mad. I'd done a 200-mile walk around the Himalayas last May. I decided to come back home and start eating and not stopping. Just didn't stop bloody eating.
So what do you want to do now for accountability? In terms
Aye.
of always dealing with this challenge, I'm putting you in the spot.
That's very important for me. Is accountability. What's important to me is that somebody helps me be accountable. So it's a concept as well, Chris. I would tell my clients is that so if a client signs up with me, right? Obviously, I'm going to be in contact with them a couple of times a week, or wherever we agree the duration of the coaching will be, and I will hold them to account. But that's grand for the times that we're in contact, right? So what I say is you need to have an accountability partner that you see nearly every day. Now, of course, with the circumstances at the minute, you're not going to physically see someone every day, but is there someone in your life that can hold you to account every single day and ask you this question? Did you do today what you promised you were going to do yourself, what you promised yourself you were going to do?
Yeah.
So do you have somebody in your life? I'll be honest with you, it's hard getting someone to do that. It's hard getting that, what I call an accountability buddy.
Yeah, someone who's actually gonna do it properly. Because a lot of people they'll just be like, if you ask them, and then all of a sudden you didn't do something one day, and then they didn't bust your balls, you just be like, because you can, if it's someone you know very well as well, you'd be like, I'll do it tomorrow, and it can get very wishy-washy. You need somebody who's gonna go, no, seriously, get it fucking done.
And the thing is, and the way you're saying that too is 100% right, and it could be one of two ways. And one thing you're actually talking about, what makes you stand out, what actually makes me stand out, I think, or like to think, is that people can trust me straight away. For some reason, I can build a rapport with someone like that. And with a client especially, is that within about 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I know if they're going to respond to either an arm around the shoulder or a kick in the hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you are going to be an accountability partner, just have a think about how you're going to convey that message. You need to be very, how would you put it? very strict with your message, but doing it in an empathetic way. Or with me, I respond to being bawled out. So that's the sort of thing. But in terms of my own accountability partner, I'm actually trying to find someone who will match up to me. It takes a bit of time to find someone who fits you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to loads of people, and I've met some incredible people. I've got, an emotional, spiritual type of person who I can chat to. That's Kevin. I can talk. There's different people around me. Still have to find the person who really balls me out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. It's just, and it's human too. It's human nature sometimes to procrastinate, and priorities change as well.
Yeah.
But as long as you get to, it's a good old 80-20 rule. You know what the 80-20 rule is? Pareto principle.
Yeah, of course.
So 80% of your results come from 20% of your inputs. If you're getting 80% of your results, you're doing pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
You are doing pretty well. So, if you're doing something, and again, this is maybe a tip for someone who's thinking about their business. If you've got something that you believe is a 7 or 8 out of 10, go and do it.
Yeah.
Because here, I'm an uber perfectionist, but it's held me back in so many ways, procrastinating.
Yeah. I get your. You see, you would go well. You would work well with me in terms of I'm like hell for leather. Let's just go for something, and then I need someone there on the other side of me who's the analytical, get all the details right, because I'll overlook certain things. That somebody will go, no, hold on, you need to do that, you need to do that. I'm like hell for leather, and overlook things, take a lot of action, but you need somebody who has that balance.
Yeah, that's the word, is balance, because you can have the other way around. I'll give you an example. So like I said, I was in senior.
You need to be aware enough that you have that weakness.
Completely. I got a job. I got a job role by saying that.
What?
I got a job role by saying that there, giving that awareness. I was in a job interview for being financial controller of WKD, actually. And in the interview, they said, James, what's your greatest strength? And I went, I'm a perfectionist. You're going to get the best from me. And I went, thanks very much. And I went, James, what's your greatest weakness? And I went, I'm a perfectionist. Because if I can't give you 100%, I'll beat myself up. But then whenever you consider that 80% is good enough, and so I got a job role by admitting I was a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing, Chris, is this, and somebody said this to me, is brilliant. Your 80% is somebody else's perfection.
Yeah.
So if you get something to 80%, it is good enough. So go and do it.
100%.
Just to touch back in the video thing. If you take a video and you think, that's all right, don't be retaking it.
Yeah.
Go and put it out there.
There's always people that criticize me in my videos and say something wasn't right in the background or something wasn't right. Like, fucking hell. You take away from the value of the actual message of what I'm trying to say. But
do you know who would say that to me in my videos?
Who?
Me.
Really?
I'm my own biggest critic. Absolutely. But I have to learn that as well.
You just do not give a fuck. I'm just like, get it recorded, get it out there, and just get it done, and stop fucking worrying about every little detail. Like, yes, fair enough, if you're doing something, you want it to look half decent, but I'm not going to sit every time I take a video and think about the lighting, think about this, think about that, think about the sound quality. Sometimes you just need to get it recorded and get it out, and that's the way it has to be.
So what is the key word? The key word there is balance.
The key, yeah.
You need to have a balance by getting something to a high quality view. Is that your dog?
Yeah.
You need to have a balance between getting something to a really good standard. How you doing? But then getting it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And you do, if you were recording professional videos and stuff, you'd probably want somebody there who was good at what they were doing. But for a lot of social media stuff, people don't care. They just kind of want a bit of entertainment, a bit of fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like, most of the stuff I shoot on an iPhone, then it's just a load of shit. But well, sometimes you just have like, oh, I'm not doing that until I buy a DLSR or whatever
I know.
DSLR camera. I'm not doing that until I get a wireless microphone. I'm not doing that until I get a lighting system.
Mm-hmm.
It's excuses for procrastination. Just get it done, put it out there. If it's good, people will respond. If it's not, people won't respond.
You're 100% right. Absolutely. But certainly it's about going and getting stuff done in terms of, but this is the other thing actually. We'll talk about the mental bit. Many times do people look after their mind? So we're talking about health here. Many people look after their mind. I'm talking about this webinar because it's the freshest thing in my head that I'd done last night.
Yeah.
And that was a key question I asked people is, what's the most important thing in your life? That's a question I ask a lot of my clients. And they'll go, oh, my girlfriend or whatever, my job or whatever they got. And I'm going, was it not your mind? Because without it, you can't comprehend anything else. And, going through what I went through, I learned that lesson very, very starkly about 5 years ago. I learned that hugely. I wouldn't have flipping cared about my mind at all up until 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But whenever the shit hits the fan and then it comes through, by frig, you have to go and learn about it.
Yeah.
So that's another challenge I would say to people now in the next couple of weeks, whenever we're all in lockdown, is how are you going to look after your mind? Do you do your meditation 10 minutes every day, which is great? Do you go out for your walk? Do you go and connect with someone online like we're doing now and have a decent conversation?
Doing something constructive as well that's going to have a positive impact on your future, because progress equals, happiness is progress. You do feel happier when you're progressing. So even if it's something small, it could be business, it could be personal, it could be whatever. It could be just having one Zoom meeting to enhance your personal brand and get that sort of thing started. That's progression. So if you had a couple of Zoom calls a day that were going to be chopped up, put into social media, or you want to put it in a podcast or whatever, that you would feel like you had a productive day, and that could very well keep people sane.
Yeah, but then the other thing too about doing this podcast, it's great crack, isn't it?
It's always good. You forget that you're actually going to put some of that stuff out to people.
So that's the benefit of this. This is the thing. The benefit is it's actually going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on a wee tip actually about progression. And you were talking about audiobooks, and audiobooks are great given certain circumstances. So you can walk. I call my car the library because I get through an awful lot of books in the car by listening to it. You call it a portable learning library, whatever you want to call it. But the key thing about progression is this: don't get a book. So if you have got a paper book, this thing called timeline therapy, if you have got a paper book and you're reading it, right, and you turn the page, apparently the research says that subconsciously you see that as progression because you physically turned the page. You've completed this page and you're progressing on to the other. Right. That's a tip. Actually, the odd time read a physical book because that gives you a sense of progression. Yeah. And it really gives you a sense of fulfillment whenever you complete a book, a physical book.
Okay.
So that's another tip. I learned that over the last while because I was researching stuff about studying properly.
Yeah.
And the research still says that if you read a book, physical book, it's still very, very important.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool.
It's something. I actually have a physical book by my bed that I read every night, just even 5 or 6 pages, just more for switching off rather than actually, it may take me 6 months to read it, but that's on top of the books that I'm listening to as well. So
aye.
But you know what? I'm going to end with something new here today, because I'm actually I was supposed to start with this, but I forgot. But I'm going to end with your best joke. So tell me your best joke.
Oh man, you should have flipping. Oh.
Dedicated a whole lot of this.
You tell me your best one first. Give me a bit of time to bloody think about it.
Right, not even just any stupid joke. You top joke you've heard this week.
Oh, flip, man. This is going to end on such a low because I'm crap at remembering jokes.
All right. Do you know what makes me throw up?
What?
The dartboard in the ceiling.
That's actually quite good.
That's the best one I've heard all week. Right. Something.
Apologies, man. There's no jokes. I'm going to end on a very, very big low. You put me under serious pressure. Let me look one up. Let me look one up for the crack. Let me. We can't. We can't. We can't.
We'll do this beforehand. But
We can't end on such a low. So let me just look one up for the crack. So apologies to everybody out there.
I used to do this on Instagram, Dad Joke Fridays. We used to go on and tell just.
Oh man, you should have told me that. You should have told me that. But hey, let's get a good old joke on the go.
See, I'll tell another one in the meantime, just to keep everybody entertained.
I told my wife she was drawing her eyebrows too high. She looked surprised.
What do you call a dinosaur fart?
What?
Blast from the past.
Oh, for God.
Oh dear.
I threw a boomerang a few years ago. Now I live in constant fear. That is a good one, actually. So, my wife accused me of being immature. I told her to get out of my fort. That's a cracker. Oh, here, man. We could have just done a whole podcast doing this.
Easily. Right. Anyway, anything
right,
today, just to finish off, any top tips for anybody, take the floor for 30 seconds.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do it even shorter than that. I'm going to do it because of this, because of the circumstances that we're under. The most important people in your life, please take care of them. Simple as that. Look after yourself and look after each other. That's it.
Top tip. Thank you very much, James.
No bother, man.